Inside here, you know, you get an insight and you know something, you know, but you don't want to say it out loud because you're kind of afraid that it's not going to be really true and it'll spoil the whole thing for you, you know. But when somebody makes you say it, then, and it's true, then it just makes it more beautiful of a thing.
Water is the softest and most yielding substance, yet nothing is better than water for overcoming the hard and rigid, because nothing can compete with it. Lao Tzu.
Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave.
Sitting in a 4v3.
Everfrog Esports trying to find the angle they can, trying to find somebody out of position.
We're gonna go through on this. Oh, what a roll. We're gonna take flag. DYS is gonna go in.
It's going to be a really, really interesting one.
Oh my god. All of this competition could be so damn close, so I cannot wait for us to finally decide who's going to be the champion. We are expecting some chaos, some great moments.
The beast mode has killed 3. Only gonna really need that rampage, so it's gonna clear it out. Santi gonna get themselves a big old 4K. Oh, Santi's getting rid of 3, clearing out the house.
That is crazy.
Nunji actually kills 3 people.
This team feels entirely different on this faster composition. Now Saga 4 is hanging around, getting onto the high ground. Post bomb's gonna stick under Leaky. They're not gonna be able to survive it at the end of the day. Manages to find a 3K.
Rio shoving this Ana into a corner. Woo! One more for the road for Rio.
That is all signs go. Melophobia with 3 Melophobia. Start the fight. They'll end the fight. Oh my god. Beagle Bus, they have to play aggressively into this energy. Popping off in a moment where you needed just that. Ruby in that backline. Oh, the flick. Looking for it. Oh my goodness. The 4th one as well. Do they get the ace? They get the ace.
Another day, another series here as the Season 17 playoffs roar onwards. Hello, everybody. I am Gedster. Joining me once again is my good friend Rain for the 2nd day in a row, actually. Kind of crazy. That never happens. But how you doing, Rain?
I'm pretty good, Getzer. I'm excited to get to cover more EU action. We are going to be over in the GM tier this time. It'll be DYS Fracture versus Unlimited here. So this, on paper should be a pretty close matchup. We have the number 4 seed going against the number 5 seed. So hoping for a pretty electric series today.
Yeah, theoretically, numerically speaking, a very close one for sure. And I'm hoping we get another banger, because last night I got to cast my first ever 5-map series in CGL. In my time casting here, it's only been 3-0s and a couple of 3-1s, and I finally got a 5er last night, and that map 5 ended in like 4 minutes. So maybe today we get something a little bit closer, but it is, as you say, DYS Fracture versus Unlimited today here in our first match of the day. Dire Triggers and Aura Fury for our second. And I just gotta say, DYS Fracture, that's an evil team logo. I can't believe you would do that to me.
I'm squinting to see what this possibly is, and my eyes are too old for that.
Listen, if you haven't played Destiny 2, you wouldn't know, and that's okay.
I'm not in the know anyways. It doesn't matter if I can't see it. But, yeah, DYS has had a pretty strong season so far to get into this playoffs, of course. Number 4 seed. The last time that they faced up against Unlimited was a little while ago now, so way back in week 6, and it was Unlimited that took the 3-0 in that series. So we'll have to see what DYS has kind of learned from that and are taking into the playoffs here. Of course, we are in the upper bracket, so whatever team does end up with the loss here, they will get that second life in the lower bracket.
Indeed, they will. And, it's a similar situation to what we had going on yesterday, because obviously we're still in winners round number 1. We're not worried quite yet about anybody going home. But you know what else is similar, Rain? Our map 1 selection.
Yeah, it's across the board. It doesn't matter which region you're in, which division you're in. It's always Lijiang Tower. DYS. DYS is the one that got to select it. I can't imagine that we would have ended up anywhere else, even if Unlimited had been the one to select. But yeah, so DYS, of course, being that higher seed means that they not only get to pick what control map we start on first, but they will also get control of the first ban as well. So lots of power in the hands of DYS right now. And like I mentioned earlier, these two teams have faced up against each other. The GM tier, not that big. So these teams do have a pretty good understanding of what to expect from the other teams. So you can use that in combination with that hero ban to try and come out super strong here on the first map.
Yeah, and we're going to be looking at the bans, as you say here. Going into this one, I'll be transparent. I may or may not have clicked on the Live 1 channel and already seen what gotten banned. So, Should I spoil it for the people at home, Rain?
No, don't spoil it. Don't spoil it. I think
Okay.
hey, worth mentioning also, Sierra will not be playable for the
This is true.
duration of playoffs. So that is something to keep in mind. You don't see her on the graphic here because she will be back in next season. But first ban is going to be the Bastion ban, and I really do think that this speaks to DYS knowing who they're going up against. Otherwise, I would not expect to see a Bastion ban on Lijiang.
Yeah, it's a weird ban for sure. Typically, if you want a DPS off the board, then sometimes you'll see a team go for like a Symmetra, because this is one of the only points in the game where Symmetra is going to be a super impactful character. But honestly, what this tells me is that DYS, they're looking to play that Symmetra themselves. They don't want to have to deal with not having that character on the board, so potentially a little bit of a protect ban, but also Bastion is kind of annoying sometimes, so I get it.
I feel like, it could really empower Zarya to be played as well. We've been seeing a decent amount of that tank, and the Bastion, of course, can really mow down a Zarya once those bubbles come out, or really just destroy the bubbles immediately. So we will see. It's the Lucio ban here on Lijiang Tower, and I mean, I said this when we were in the open tier, and we saw Lucio come out on map number 1. The team that bans out the Lucio is coming in with a very specific strategy here, so it'll be interesting to see the backline that Unlimited wants to play on Lijiang.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, yesterday when we saw the team banning out Lucio, I believe it was that Doomfist team that just kind of ran over everybody, or if I recall correctly. So maybe we see a little more of that today. I'm not getting my hopes up because Doomfist is a rather niche pick right now, and I mean, they were just different. That was just a different level of Doomfist play we saw yesterday. But anyway, you slice it. This will be a very interesting map. I do fully expect to see the Symmetra on the board for at least one of these teams. But we got lineups to talk about here. Wybronin, Note, Nepu, Kermi, and Mogul here for DYS Fracture.
All right, yeah, potentially getting to see some Hazard. I think that Note on the Sojourn would make a lot of sense as well. We have been seeing a whole lot of Emre here on Lijiang Tower, where he has some nice sight lines to work with, and of course that ultimate going to give you a lot of kind of control of where the opposing team will kite to. So interested to see if DYS Fracture are going to pivot over to something different for the backline as well. Unlimited, Marlin and Tickophobia on the DPS, Handball on the tank, and a Breach Zero and Ikbin online the supports here. So Handball, yeah, I saw the name and I was fairly certain that I had seen him on the Wrecking Ball. So I think that the Lucio ban here from Unlimited is making a little bit more sense, where if you run the Wrecking Ball composition, you don't need the Lucio for your backline, and it'll also, of course, take away some of that CC that could be so devastating to the Wrecking Ball.
Indeed, it can. And I do find it interesting that we bring up the Hazard for Nepu here, because last night I stayed up later than I should have watching OWCS Korea, and there was a shocking amount of Hazard being played, particularly on maps like Watchpoint Gibraltar, which is unfortunately not in our playoff map pool here, but I feel like Hazard is one of those characters that is highly slept on right now. This character is scary good, in my personal opinion, and you just don't see a lot of teams rolling out on him these days. So maybe we get a little bit of a surprise here today with Nepu.
Yeah, that could be pretty fun. I do think that, the Hazard will offer just like a lot of survivability, which seems to be kind of the name of the game right now, is just don't die, which sounds pretty obvious. But I think that it's hard to run out with the Hazard if Diva is kind of an option, because she is going to be able to not only survive on her own, but the peel potential from the Diva is a little bit stronger than the Hazard. But I definitely got to agree with you. I think that Hazard has a super high damage output. You can combo with mobile DPS like the Tracer, like sometimes the Sojourn too, to really confirm some of the opening kills in fights. So it'll be interesting to see, if they're gonna pair this with the Emre. I do think that like the big burst damage from the Emre can be very nice to have as an engage tool as well. But again, both these DPS players have that Sojourn as their preferred hero, and she's very much still playable across all maps.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say that Sojourn is maybe even a little bit more consistent than the Emery. Emery kind of struggles on some of those closer range maps where Sojourn is still extremely playable, as it turns out. So every so often, you'll run into one of those engagements where it makes a little bit more sense to have that Sojourn than it does the Emery, or even a Cassidy could hit the board. We saw a fair bit of that yesterday, but so far, only the Cassidy being shown as any of the hit scan options. Surely this is not a real composition for Unlimited, though.
Ticketphobia hovering the Torbjorn.
No.
Maybe. I think that they're gonna have a really bad time if it is. Okay, this is good. Yeah, interesting that both these teams are gonna opt to have that Brig. Of course, DYS are gonna go for that classic Brig Juno backline to pair alongside Nepu, and Ronan's gonna show us the Onron here. A DPS hero that very much has not been getting a lot of playtime.
No, definitely not. I mean, ever since her introduction, she has largely been outshined by the other DPS released in Season 1 of 2026. That being, the Emery and Handball. What a good start there. I mean, the Wrecking Ball's sheer presence near the edge of the map, it has to instill more fear in you than that.
Yeah, look, the Lucio is gone, but the Wrecking Ball is still very present here. And unfortunately for Fracture, the Hyper Ring from Mogul comes out just as Nepu is trying to back out. So you don't have the tools for the hard engage. That's exactly what you need to be looking for on pretty much every engage with this Mauga composition. You need to stay ring-in, and you need to find somebody to get some CC on.
Yeah, first capture goes the way of Unlimited, and they are going to hold on to this one for at least 20% here, but there is early pressure coming out from DYS Fracture onto the point. Just looking for a flip quickly here, but you have to clear this Wrecking Ball off the point, and so far that has been a very difficult task for you, especially with Nepu going down. I mean, this is one of those matchups that is so good for Sojourn specifically. Playing into the Mauga means that you get so many railguns.
Yeah, you're pretty much just a battery at this point. And Nepu, yeah, gonna make the swap over onto the D.Va. I like this a lot more. If you aren't gonna have the clean, fast engages with the Mauga, you're not gonna find the value here. So this D.Va is gonna allow for a little bit of peel here for your team, and gonna be more mobility to work with here. It is gonna be a lot of ults coming online for Unlimited here. That Pulse Bomb won't find anything, but with this swap coming through, DYS are gonna be at a deficit. Oh, was.
Oh, most certainly they are. And I mean, they haven't even charged anything up yet. They're very close to this override protocol from Notes Emery. But other than that, I mean, what do you have? Vermilion? Not anymore. You are Ronin out of the picture, burning that ultimate just to come back into the fight, maybe give the team a fighting chance at retaking here. But, okay, wait a minute. It is going to be Notes Emery that ends up mattering just a little bit more. The pick onto the support line is going to be massive here, and now they just need to clear off a couple more players, but losing out on Nepu makes this a significantly harder affair. 99% in overtime is now triggered for Unlimited. A couple more players have been cleared off the point, and this is scary, especially without Brig, but eventually the flip does come through for Fracture.
Yeah, I don't know how long they're going to be able to stay on this point.
Oh, boy.
On to the Emery, and
that's rough. That is so
Ronan gone down. This is a hard minute.
Oh yeah, that's really rough for the side of Fracture. They get the flip, but really, it's as you say, how long can this last? The rally was great, but now it's been outlasted. Marlon's gone down here, so maybe they can hold on for a little bit longer here. In fact, they do manage to get the kills necessary to hold on to this one. So the flip comes in early, and they're already up to 40%, and maybe there's a little bit of hope here.
There is. Now, you got to keep in mind that Unlimited just have to win one more fight. They're building
Whoa!
Up to... Oh, nothing happening up there. Just making sure. You never know. Yeah, the mines are going to come online from Handball very soon. This is a very good point to use those mines. It's going to force DYS Fracture into a very uncomfortable spot.
Pulse Bomb here from Marlon as well. Could seal the deal on this point, but with each thing going off the map, it's it's not looking amazing for them here, but it is a 1-for-1 trade at very least. Pulse Bomb in the hands of Marlon. Definitely going to be turning the tide here. A stick on the note, but the damage isn't even necessary there. Phobia is going to be the one to get that elimination anyway. Minefield goes out as well. 81% in building now for DYS Fracture, as everyone is still alive. A couple players walking back to the point here, but this should just be an overtime fight. Pulse Bomb in the hands of Ronan, going to stick onto the Soldier, and absolutely massive plays coming out from the Tracers right now, because both of them have found the opposing hit scan. 99-99, Breach 0 off the map to a Brigitte whip shot. Each fin is now offline, and that should just be DYS Fracture cleaning up the remainder of this point.
Yeah, it's the rally here from Kermie, gonna make sure that Unlimited are gonna have a very bad time trying to go for this recontest. The whip shot, not quite gonna find the environmental kill, but it does burn some time from that recontest. And yeah, objective secured here. DYS Fracture just turned that all the way around here on Lijiang, and I really was off of the back of those hero swaps. The on-run, hey, I love to see some lesser played heroes, but it's not gonna win you a playoff match. She's just not in a place where she's gonna get value compared to a Tracer. And then, yeah, Nepu swapping over onto the D.Va made a massive difference as well. So DYS maybe building some momentum here, and they'll have to keep it up as we head over to Night Market.
Yeah, they're feeling pretty good about this one, Fracture. I mean, they went down 0 to 99% and still managed to claw their way back into that one. Absolutely massive stuff coming out from DYS here. But they got to do it again. That's the beauty of Control. You got to do it twice. And Unlimited, a very capable team. We've seen that already. They are more than capable of bringing this one all the way to Control Center. And not just as like a very brief camera flash onto that point this time.
Handball's over on the Domina here, so interesting to see another hero that I kind of fell out of favor a little bit, so we'll see what Unlimited can get done with it already, though. Yeah, your backline will just absolutely get walked on with this Domina. Yeah, Domina gonna fall as well, and you just do not have the staying power on this tank, especially with no Lucio on the field. That ban means that you're not really going to be able to cut yourself around this point. So it looks like Handball is going to stick with this. We'll see what Unlimited is going to be able to get done with this hero. You're going to have to probably make a rotation towards the point, try to play there, get some stuns onto the walls here, but it's going to be so hard to make your way to that point when there's this Tracer and Emre lurking around the corner.
Yeah, but at the very least, the Tracer's been forced out of position pretty significantly here. White Ronan nowhere near able to punish the over-aggression from Unlimited here. But I don't even know if you can call it over-aggression at this point. Campbell just playing this poke game that Domina is so good at, but I mean, the big problem now becomes you're still playing Domina. This character is not particularly great right now because what can you do about a D.Va boosting into your backline? What can you do about your Tracer losing the duel? What can you do really about anything that's happening anywhere else on the field except die? Mogul, with the usage of those micro missiles, is going to find that elimination. And, I mean, they do manage to find a couple of picks here, but, I mean, being down their tank hurts a lot in terms of capturing this point quickly.
Yeah, even if you have the numbers advantage, you aren't able to push your way onto the point, especially Ikbin online set up there. Don't get stunned up by the rally, so it's going to be an opportunity for Unlimited to try and find their way onto this point.
75% in building for Fracture. They still haven't managed to give up this point at all until eventually it is a 1-for-1 trade here. Back, Phobia with a very nice overclock, like a couple of very nice shots onto the D.Va, both to D-Mech and destroy the pilot's remaining HP. Campbell on this point is going to be able to find a couple of picks here, and finally the Domina finding a little bit of purchase as Unlimited flips for the first time.
Alright, now Unlimited building some percentage. They do have the Panopticon to work with. Otherwise, though, had to commit everything in to get this flip, and now you're facing down an Orbital Ray from Mogul, the bomb from Nepu, most likely going to be used as a remech tool. It's the Orbital Ray that I think Unlimited really has to be concerned about. They're not going to be able to really match it with anything. Did it just get stunned out? Where's the orbit? It's been used. I don't know where the orbit is.
Yeah, where's the orbital? Where did it go? But out goes the Panopticon as well. I don't think it's really going to be finding a whole lot of damage, but Hermie does go down amongst all of that madness. Shield goes up, blocking out the Diva Bomb, so a little bit more time gained here for Unlimited, but how much more can they sustain? I mean, they're taking a lot of damage, especially onto Hamble, and without that Panopticon anymore, it's not going to be easy to find return picks here. The Override Protocol comes out from Note, but it's not going to find anything. Great shots from that Batiste to completely shut down that Emery.
You know what, I think that Handball slammed Mogul into a wall, and that's crazy timing to be able to shut down that orbit. So, good stuff from Unlimited, and now they built up some ults to work with here. Neptune's going to swap over onto the Ram, though, so this is going to make it even that much tougher for Handball, who has been, granted, finding quite a bit of value on this Domino, more than I was maybe expecting, but now you are going to get walked down by this Ramatra. You're going to have to pop probably the rally, but no, it's been a mighty god.
Down to the Vortex. That is so rough, but it is a 1-for-1 trade. Both of the Brigitte players have gone down in this fight. Make it a 2-for-2 trade now, but both supports for Unlimited out of the equation here. DYS Fracture have a path to flipping this point. They just need to clear Hamble away from this control point. The problem now becomes getting behind that shield, and Nepu somehow goes down in the midst of all of that. Ronan, though, managing to find 2 picks to keep his team alive in this one. Breach 0 wants this one over, though. Finding a pick on the Kermie is huge, and a nicely used overclock to get Note out of the picture. A lot of damage for DYS Fracture is gone, and a lot of sustain is gone for them, especially with that Juno off the board, and nobody can get back in time post Panopticon to touch, and we will in fact be going to control centers.
All right, I'm impressed. The Domina definitely creating some space. I really do think that the DPS very much kind of popping off there for Unlimited, but hey, you got to give it to Handball for controlling the space so that the DPS weren't pressured out immediately. So control center, if you're going to run the Domina, you might actually have a better time here on control center, but it looks like Nepu's going to move over onto that Ram. So having the Ram kind of first in the match and not having to swap onto the Ram is going to give DYS a bit of an advantage here. Handball, though. Moving over to the Wrecking Ball, we don't often get to see any form of dive tank here on Control Center, so we'll see what Handball can get done on this. You definitely do have lots of displacement opportunities here, but you're not going to have as many kind of sneaky angles to work with.
And you're not going to have a lot of HP to work with, as it turns out. Ronan on that Symmetra has enough damage enough to just completely melt down 2 members of Unlimited. That is the fastest and most definitive first fight win I think I've ever seen on Control Point.
Yeah, you lose Handball, and it's pretty much just back to the drawing board here. Breach 0 also on the Ana here, so that is also kind of an interesting one to get to see. It's going to be kind of tough to navigate an anti-nade through the shield of Nepu, but hey, if you can manage it, that anti-nade will shut down both the rally and the orbit, so it's good to have for those counter ults.
Indeed it is. It's as I said earlier, this first capture for DYS is already going through, and we can see that it is massive in terms of its value. The problem now becomes, I mean, for Unlimited, how do you get in on this? Because even though you find Kermie, they manage to take out 2 players in return. Marlon, Hamble, both out of the fight, and the remainder of the team just has to back away. This Ana, Brig, not enough on their own to continue this fight.
I think, okay, you're gonna make the swap over onto the Junker Queen. Yeah, if you want to run the Wrecking Ball, you gotta play way slower. You gotta wait for Marlon to get set up on this Tracer, because up to this point, it's really just Handball rolling through, trying to make space. The Ticketophobia is gonna be able to capitalize on that, but Marlon isn't ready to follow up on any of the initial damage. So Handball over onto the Junker Queen, gonna have to try and avoid this Ramatra entirely. They're also gonna have to be worried about Bronin, who is gonna have this Photon Barrier ready to go. So even if you find your way onto the point, it's no guarantee you'll be able to cap this.
Most certainly not, but Bronin goes down immediately after popping the wall. Hamble, though, oh no, dude, this damage from the Emery is just too much. There's so much damage being put out by this character. Fortunately, going to be a 0 for the next couple of seconds, thanks to a pulse bomb connecting from Marlon. Hamble, though, on the ropes, going to be swapping over to the Ramatra in hopes of getting back and potentially fighting this mirror. Kermie goes down. Marlon with a massive early pick, but once again answered by Broden. Are you serious right now? Out goes a couple of ultimates for DYS Fracture. They want this over here and now. 3 ultimates expended, and all 3 are going to find immense value. 2 players down for Unlimited. And it looks like for the first time, this is going to be a 100-0 points at the most important juncture here on Lijiang Tower. DYS Fracture. They'll take Control Center definitively and put themselves up 1-0.
Yeah, I really like the Symmetra coming out here on Control Center. I think that they used the teleporter very effectively, able to kind of pop up in places that were unexpected by Unlimited. Note, of course, yeah, fantastic job on the Emray, and I think that no surprise why we do end up kind of seeing Emray on a lot of these Lijiang Tower submaps. I think that on Control Center especially, being able to control that coast lane, having the brig set up there with you. Again, I did get pulse bombed by Marlon, but for the vast majority of the fights, there's just nobody from Unlimited that was really able to dislodge Note from that side, so it was just constant damage coming in, and DYS pretty much always finding the first pick in a fight or an immediate trade.
Oh yeah, especially on that third point. Those trades right off the bat, usually it was Bronin just kind of melting somebody down on that Symmetra. But I mean, the damage from the Emray, I mean, this character's just dumb. We need to gut Emray in the mid-season patch. Like, please, can we let this happen? I swear, please, we need this character shot dead. Anyway, DYS Fracture, a very solid start for them. Obviously, they had the map pick, they had the first ban option. Unlimited now gets both of those. Well, if they want the first ban, of course, which most people do. But every so often, you'll see a team mind game well enough to hand over their ban and win out anyway, which is very funny, admittedly.
Yeah, I am fully expecting that Unlimited is going to keep the first ban, but yeah, like you said,
Probably.
they do it. They have the option if they really wanted to, but
if they want.
Yeah, I think that having the first ban after DYS playing a consistent comp pretty much all the way through. You know, we did see the sim come out on Control Center, but Unlimited definitely showing us a lot more hero diversity than what we saw from Fracture, and I can't expect that you would go for the ban onto the subtle heroes that Fracture did play. You're not going to ban out the on-run. I don't expect that we're going to get to see that again in this series. So, yeah, I think that if you're Unlimited and you want to force this this Wrecking Ball composition, well, you're in control now to take us to a map that you can play that Wrecking Ball, and then you can still go for the Kiriko ban. So you took the Lucio ban off the table. You're not going to be able to do that, but you can still disrupt that, you know, ever-persistent backline with a Kiri ban. Might not do it on map number 2, but it definitely, I expect we're going to see it come out from them sometime in the series.
Did we even see Kiri get played in map 1? I don't think we did.
We didn't.
I don't think we did,
true.
yeah. It's not a hero that either of these teams walked out on, and I mean, part of that might be just because everybody's so used to playing the Lucio Kiri, and when Lucio's off the board, it's like, all right, all bets are off, we're going Juno. Or it's just a matter of like, maybe these teams just don't want to play Kiri that much. That's what I'm kind of hoping for. That'd be cool to not see Kiri for a series, but I sincerely doubt that that is the reality that we're living in. Kiriko, obviously one of the strongest characters in the game. Even when they give her a slight nerf, they have to buff her healing output by 40% because of course they do, for some reason. I could sit here and critique the Overwatch balance like decisions all day long, but we have a series to talk about here, and moving forward, I am very curious to know what our second map selection is going to be, because obviously there's the standard ones, right? There's the ones that everybody expects to see, the Suravasa very likely to be seen at some point in this series. The King's Row very likely to be seen at some point in this series. The push and the escort, though, a little bit more up in the air, particularly concerning the map pools that we have right now, right? Obviously, a lot of teams will just default to like a Watchpoint Gibraltar when we go to escort, but that's not in the pool right now. So I think that, interestingly enough, the escort map pool in particular is very polarizing as it stands.
And I kind of like to have a map pool like that, because I do feel like the escort maps will allow for a lot more kind of hard focused compositions compared to like a push map where you can, it doesn't matter which push map you go to, you're going to be able to play the same compositions across pretty much all of them. Whereas you get into escort, and yeah, you mentioned Gibraltar, it's not in the map pool, but hard dive focus map, Circuit Royale, hard poke or brawl. But we're getting right into it right away. It will be King's Row map number 2. And yeah, of course, this is the map that is selected by Unlimited here. So they are looking to force a map that everybody's very comfortable on. I think that if you were going to come to King's Row, if you have Wrecking Ball as your, your kind of preferred composition here, you're going to have to come up with a pretty strong hero band, because you've got to expect the DYS Fracture probably going to play either that Ramatra, maybe the Diva here. You're probably going to be going up against more of kind of a brawl comp, so you'll have to figure out a hero band that's going to take some of that pressure off of your supports, because I think DYS was doing a really good job when Unlimited swapped over onto the Domina, even though they didn't win that map of more or less just kind of rushing down the supports.
For sure. It is a very interesting concept, because obviously King's Row, one of those maps that's been around forever, and I think that the ban system somewhat spices up this map, interestingly enough, because I mean, back in the day, this was literally just, we got King's Row, time to go Ryan Zarya, time to go Ryan Zarya, pack it up. We're just doing the same thing we did last time we were here. But now, in a completely different era, with only one tank per team, with one character banned from each side of the server, then it is a fundamentally different experience. And I am excited to see what the bans are going into this one, for sure. I do kind of expect that it will be something that, like you say, alleviates some pressure from your backline. Maybe a Tracer ban comes through at some point here, but again, we'll see.
Yeah, so Unlimited taking us over to King's Row, and looks like they will go for the first ban as well. They had the option to forfeit that, but it's not what's going to be happening here. So far, I think that you're going to want to hit back really quickly here if you're Unlimited with a map win. Of course, DYS picking up their map pick of Lijiang Tower. If you want to slow down some of that momentum, getting a pretty clean win here on King's Row would be nice for Unlimited to bounce back a little bit and hopefully not take themselves into too many overtime rounds. But of course, this is going to be a first to 3. So if Unlimited do end up dropping King's Row, they will have one more chance to stay in the series. And yeah, it looks like it will be that Tracer ban coming out. So the support's going to be a little bit more protected here for Unlimited. And that will mean, of course, it's going to have to be a tank or a support ban for the side of Fracture.
I'm thinking support. No idea who it'll be, but I'm thinking support, surely. The real... Again, though, like, surely you don't ban the Kiriko ban this early. Surely you don't want to get rid of the Lucio, because now we're playing, like, one of Lucio's historic best maps.
Yeah.
It really just comes down to, like, what do you know Unlimited is comfortable on, you know?
Yeah. Well, we did see the Brig come out for both teams, and I think that... Okay, no, it's gonna be the BAP ban. Yeah, you're right. It's a support ban here. The BAP, kind of getting played on King's Row. I think historically, if you're not playing the Lucio Kiriko, the BAP, it is a nice option here. When you have that kind of burst damage, you have a bit of vertical mobility to work with as well. So it's definitely going to weaken the front line specifically of whatever composition you really end up on. Oh, Arrow. Yeah.
All right, we've got a substitution as well. We got Arrow is in for Unlimited. And, yeah, I kind of mess with this. Arrow, it says, obviously, the preferred hero will never be, like, exactly what they're going to be playing 100% of the time. But if we get a Bastion, I would not be entirely surprised here.
So I was a part of the EU opponent picking stream, and I remember Arrow being called out specifically by Fracture as them being concerned about Arrow. Arrow, basically a Soldier Bastion 2 trick. So I think that in this case we could potentially be seeing that Bastion, and where the Bastion ban has already come out for DYS, they're not going to be able to target ban that hero again. So maybe if we go over to Flashpoint, we'll see the Soldier ban come out. But of course, the swaps in the rosters happen after those bans come through. So for Unlimited to have, you know, another DPS to sub in potentially if Arrow gets targeted out is nice to have, as it is going to be Fracture on the defense first here. They are going to actually have Ronin on the Symmetra here as well. You know, sometimes we get to see it on the attack on King's Row. On the defense, though, I think for first point, it could be pretty nasty.
Very well could be. I am very curious to see how this one goes. I am also curious to see... I doubt this Widowmaker sticks around for very long here for Aticophobia, but... I mean, we'll see if this just, like, grapple shot connects onto anybody. Really, the only character in the line of sight was the D.Va. Not going to be sticking to this Widowmaker, unfortunately for me. I am a Widow enjoyer, as everybody in CGL chat knows at this point, so... Would have been cool, but not meant to be, at least not today. Now, we do see a very interesting pick coming out here from Handball. We are looking at a Sigma, and honestly, I really like this pick. I think Sigma, another one of those tanks that is somewhat slept on in the current state of Overwatch, but it is somewhat difficult to navigate a team that is kind of teleporting all around you. But they do manage to find the opening pick onto Ronin.
Yeah, and with Ronin out of the picture, that means the teleport out of the picture as well. So DYS are kind of stuck in a very awkward place. Unlimited have gone ahead, got themselves set up on the point here. So at some point, yeah, you're going to have to come through with the contest, but yeah, you're walking straight into a Bastion.
Yep, Arrow is there waiting for the punish, and Nepu just not able to stay in that mech for very long. This is a very, very swift first point take here for the side of Unlimited, and DYS, they're already having to make some changes here. No more D.Va to speak of, and no more, I think that was I don't even remember who Note was playing, but now they're over on the Emery, and that's not shocking at all. This character's good.
Yeah, off the Cassidy there over
That's
on
right.
to the Emery. Yeah, Nepu on the Ram here is going to help against Handball on this Sigma, and you're going to be able to live through the Bastion, at least to try and navigate your way out of that Bastion form. So it's good for DYS to be able to hold up early here, but yeah, that flux is pretty big.
Yeah, massive flux. Absolutely huge. And the rock connecting onto the power blocking Ramatra just means that he is not long for this world. Hermie also falling very, very low and eventually will be taken out by one of those orbs just bouncing around a corner from Handball's Sigma. And this part potentially going to be moving forward a little bit more here, but the Emery here to try and stop that to the best of his ability, but it simply won't be enough. Ichbin is able to get in there and punish Mogul for a slight overextension.
Yeah, and that is that's a pretty good stagger here for Unlimited. They're going to continue to push this card forward. Of course, Mogul will get back fairly quickly. Has the Kitsune Rush to work with as well, but DYS are probably going to have to commit an ult earlier than they necessarily wanted to.
Yeah, and that's going to be the Kitsune Rush for Unlimited. And the wall here for Fracture. But Ronin and Arrow both going down early in this fight. At the very least, Arrow can maybe, if he deems necessary, still contribute to this with the bombardment from spawn, but doesn't seem like he's going to be wanting to use it immediately here. Note pops that override protocol, finds a couple of picks here, and that should be enough to stabilize for DYS.
Yeah, they will get a couple kills there. Kirby pushing a little bit too far, though. I think trying to find kind of a little bit of a late kill there. The Lucio will get back quick, but we are going to see the swap off the Sim as well. Ronin over on to the Echo now. Still have the Kitsune Rush to work with. Probably going to want to use that earlier in the fight rather than later because Breach Zero did commit, that Kitsune Rush early for Unlimited, so you don't have to worry about being matched here. You do have the Bastion all online for Arrow, but I think with Kermie on this Lucio, DYS should be able to just kite out of that Bastion ult, but we'll see a lot of space at least gained.
Oh, but wait, it's a really good usage of just the first shot to bait out the Suzu from the Kirito, but it's not going to be enough quite yet to do all the damage necessary here. Nepu pops that Annihilation to try and get a punish onto these players here, but it's not going to last particularly long because, again, Unlimited do a really good job of just hiding away from it and not allowing Nepu to get immense value out of that one. And right now, the tables have kind of been turned on Nepu. Despite using that ultimate, despite cutting down a lot of members of Unlimited, he's the one to go down first in this fight. 2 minutes remaining, and this should just be a free capture.
Yeah, I don't see Fracture getting back in, especially with Kermie being the last one to fall there. So they will move, Unlimited will move into the third point, about 3.5 minutes to work with. We are looking at a Kitsune Rush coming online for Breach Zero, but otherwise, not really anything coming up here for these teams. So Unlimited, if they can build that rush up, they could go for an early fight and try to just continue the momentum going through this third point.
So much damage once again being pumped up by Arrow. They have to respect it. They have to be so careful to not get melted down by this Bastion. But Ronin there on this Echo swap to find the first elimination of this fight and hold the part at this first corner of third point. But Unlimited, they are coming up on a lot of very important moves.
Yeah, they are, and you know, getting to that first corner, at least the card is on the far side of the corner to work with here. But DYS, they're also going to have both these DPS ults coming online. That override protocol, strong in the best of cases, but I think that the sight lines of third point will give you just that bit of an edge.
Kermie goes down first in the fight as well here. Crucially, too, super close to that sound barrier. With Nepu also going down here, I mean, the duplicate just isn't going to matter all that much. The override protocol does get used by Note as well, but the damage simply isn't there. The sustain is enough to keep Unlimited alive through it. And now a whole lot of damage goes out onto Ethan, and that actually is able to get the pick. So only a little bit of health remaining on Note, but still able to put in a decent amount of damage. And that should be DYS holding out for a little bit longer.
Yeah, Unlimited have been very patient in their ult use, though. So they had 4 ults to work with in that fight. They do not commit the sound barrier, so they'll have that to match for when Kermie uses his ultimate. And then having the flux here from Handball, you have the opportunity right now to bait out the beat from Kermie and then go in aggressive with your own beat. You have to be worried about Nepu getting this Annihilation online. However, you mentioned it on the second point of King Crow. Unlimited has been doing a good job of just kiting out of a lot of these engagements, and that's the beauty of playing into an Annihilation, is if you just don't stand in it, it will eventually go away here. So, oh my goodness! Oh no!
That's a certified CGL Ajax right there. Get the graphic up on screen, everybody. Thank you very much. DYS Fracture will take the easy fight win. Only a minute remaining on the clock now, and yeah, that's a really rough one to lose if you're Unlimited. You used 2 ultimates in that fight. Breach is going over to the Ana, and I mean, you still have a couple to work with here, but I mean, that was a rough one.
Yeah, at least, you know, you get the beat out of Kermie, so you won't have to worry about that, but that does mean the Flux will come through. Annihilation, will he be able to stay alive, though?
1 HP, but manages to stay alive through it for a very long time. The override protocol also rolling out here in an attempt to keep the team alive, but it simply won't be enough. The damage onto the Emery is beautiful, and it's a 1-for-2 trade. But this Bastion is in a perfect spot to punish Kermie, to punish Nepu, and maybe even to get some significant damage onto Mogul. 1 HP, but the teleport does come through. They do manage to get away. 15 seconds remaining on the clock now, and Unlimited should start to get a little bit more distance on this part any moment now. They are so close to the end of the map. There's a chance that they can full cap, but the Kitsune Rush wants to dash those hopes. as quickly as is possible. Unlimited, very close to a couple of support ultimates here, but not quite there yet. It just needs to be there quickly. The nano goes out. It does connect onto Arrow. A lot of damage being dealt by this Bastion now, and the sound barrier also charged and connects. Hermie and Nepu out of the picture. Arrow goes down, but it simply won't be enough for DYS Fracture to hold on as Unlimited finish the map in overtime.
Alright, this does of course mean that if DYS are able to complete King's Row with time in the bank, more than a minute, Unlimited is going to be looking at a draw here. But it is going to have to be a very efficient push through King's Row for DYS, and I think that now that they're going to be against this Bastion on the defense here, it might be a little bit harder. I mean, Arrow did fantastic stuff on the attack, but I think, yeah, walking into the Bastion can also be very, very troublesome here. So we'll see if Unlimited will keep Arrow on the Bastion, or maybe they'll play the other one, the Soldier. But yeah, no, it's going to be the Bastion. Breach Zero hovered on. Okay, maybe we will get to see a bit of a Kiriko here. But I think that Unlimited have their strengths when they were really kind of giving the resources to this DPS line, baiting out some cooldowns before Arrow went in with the Bastion form, and then just kind of cleaning up DYS with that form. So if they can kind of just keep that cycle going of trying to hold on to that form until it's a little bit later in the fight, I think that they should have a pretty good run here on the defense. But DYS, of course, I'm going to be running with Nepu on this Ram, and then Ronin on the Echo here. I like it for first point. We might see a swap as we move over onto second point, but if you can get through this initial choke point and against that Bastion, you might be able to get yourself onto the point and start building some percentage. We'll see, though, as it looks like Arrow is set up on the high ground, so somebody is going to have to deal with the DPS that are sitting in the back. Just waiting out the form. That's all you can do, really, is you gotta wait out the form and then you gotta rotate towards the high ground. But you don't have any vertical mobility, save for Ronin on that Echo, to even go up there and try and contest Arrow.
Oh, but look at that damage being pumped into Nepu on the Ramatra. He just had to use his form and power block for that entire duration, because if he didn't, I mean, he was going to die. Somebody else might have died. It would have snowballed into something much worse. So already off to a rather significant ult charge deficit is Nepu, only at 25%, I believe. Not quite the lowest. Hermie not even to that on the sound barrier quite yet, but literally every single time you see the Ramatra form come out, you see the Bastion form in response from Arrow.
Yeah, they're just not able to take any space on the point, but I like this rotation from Fracture up to the high ground, but Unlimited are now just going to be able to flip the map here, and Ronin getting caught out of that rotation. Massive find there. I think Arrow would make a little bit surprised.
Yeah, I don't think you expect to see a Bastion right there, but every so often he will just appear next to you, and you have to have a response to that. Unfortunately, Nepu doesn't seem to have one right now and probably will be hunted down ultimately. The Kiriko is there to attempt to save him, but it remains to be seen whether or not it's actually going to work, especially since the entirety of Fracture begins to fall very low. Ultimately, their HP reaches 0, and Kermie is the last player standing before eventually being hunted down as well. Team kill for Unlimited. Very, very strong defense.
Yeah, they're doing a great job with the rotations here. They're also doing a great job punishing the rotations from DYS. Ronin trying to hold on a bit of an angle here so that you can follow up on the initial damage from the rest of Fracture with that focusing beam, but you don't have any of the supports with you on this angle. So now lots of ults ready to go for both of these teams. So we'll see. It is going to be Unlimited trying to go first.
I really like the usage of that duplicate there from Ronin, but unfortunately the damage just isn't there. The follow-up's not there. The beat is, though. I'm not even sure that the sound barrier was necessary, but I mean, burning it anyway, and now there's only a minute and 15 remaining on the clock for Fracture to get in on this one. But they do have tools necessary to break onto this one. They're nearly at the sound barrier. They have the Kitsune Rush. They have the Override Protocol. And they've gone over to the Vendetta, interestingly enough.
interesting. I mean, you might go over to the Vendetta because most of Unlimited is playing stacked on that high ground, so if you can get the Vendetta up there with the sword, you can do big chunks of damage, but I just don't know how you're going to be able to survive the initial engagement up there.
Oh, but they do manage to find the pick on the Hamble thanks to the swap onto that Vendetta. Arrow, though, going to find the trade onto Note. The Override Protocol not going to find really anything in this fight, but Ronin with this Vendetta. Nerfs do not matter to this man. That character is still going to be doing ridiculous damage on the high ground, and progress is being gained on the point here. It kind of looks like they're just going to have to give up the point here, but there is a contest from Hamble at the very last second possible, but this mech is going to get melted down. Surely it does. And, I mean, on the bright side, DYS Fracture, they see fit to expend several ultimates, not just the Kitsune Rush, but also the Annihilation. They do eventually get the point, but that was expensive for them.
Yeah, it was. A good thing they did get some of those later kills, though. So Unlimited sticking around on the point does mean that they're going to get the long spawn. I think Ticophobia is around somewhere on this second phase, but everybody else is going to be walking back from that far spawn. So that means DYS taking as much space as they can for free right now. And I think where you're playing up against this Bastion, yeah, you don't want to end up in a fight on a choke point here. So good stuff for them to regroup, try and build up towards this Thundering Blade. Ikman Online will get that beat, but as we know, it's not going to matter too much in the face of a Thundering Blade. So if you can get down Nepu, though, that'd be a big start for Unlimited.
Yeah, that'd be really nice. Unfortunately, Ronin will not last long in that particular fight. I really like the gumption there for Ronin to go in and try to get a bunch of damage. The problem is you're going directly into the face of a Bastion who is currently in turret form, and your block isn't going to last very long against that. So, no Thundering Blade to speak of quite yet for Ronin, no Override Protocol for Note yet either, and only 90 seconds remaining. Honestly, a little bit less than that at this point for them to make it through the remainder of Streets phase.
Yeah, they're now stuck with this choke point once again. So going to be the Kitsune Rush ready to go from Breach 0 shortly as well. You're not going to be able to match that from Mogul. They have, DYS have walked their way through the choke, so they are getting some space to work with here, forcing everybody back, and this Override Protocol definitely going to help with that.
Oh, big damage. Huge damage from the Override Protocol here. Even if Note isn't able to finish the Bastion, it's still an absolutely immense value ultimate just for being able to push so many members of Unlimited away. But Arrow finds another pick onto Ronin here. This Bastion has been immensely valuable for the side of Unlimited. There just isn't an answer for Fracture quite yet. And, I mean, Nepu has to play so far back in order to even maybe stay alive here. Mogul goes down. The beats are both out. It's just a matter of can one team take a definitive lead, and I mean, Unlimited definitely takes the lead.
Yeah, there's 10 seconds left here for DYS to try to get a touch. Everybody is respawning. Nepu swaps over onto the Diva, but there's not going to be a touch here. Nice moves from Kermi, but a better move from Ikman Online, and that will be Unlimited picking up their map pick of King's Row and tying this series up.
I do find it particularly scary, if I'm a fan of DYS Fracture, that the Bastion was that impactful. Like, obviously, going into this, they were aware of Arrow being a very good Bastion and Soldier 76 player, but, I did not... I don't know if I expected him to be that ridiculously impactful on the match as a whole, so we are, we're a little bit scared right now, if we're Fractured, because we don't have that Bastion Van to work with anymore, obviously. We expended it on Lijiang Tower, and we did win that map. That's the bright side of things. We're even going into the half, but it's scary.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for Fracture to bounce back from this, so we are going to give them a quick break here. They're going to be able to figure out where we will go for map number 3, so stick with us. We will be back with the EU GM playoff match after this.
We back, everybody. It's time for map number 3 in this winners round 1 matchup here in the No, we're not in North America. The European Grandmaster tier playoffs in CGL Season 17. Once again, I am Gedster. Joining me is my good friend Rain, and we are tied up at the half. A very close affair on Lijiang Tower was followed up by a very not close affair on King's Row. So, Unlimited, they have the upper hand on the previous map, but Fracture gets to pick the next one, and we are going to another one of our Nothing Ever Changes maps, Suravasa.
Yeah, we knew this was coming at some point. So yeah, here we are, map number 3. DYS did very well on Lijiang again. It was pretty close. But they're gonna look to bring back some of that energy from the control map. Take us over onto Flashpoint here. They are, of course, going to be in control of the first ban as well, so they won't be able to go for that Bastion ban, which maybe a little upsetting for them, as that definitely did prove to be troublesome on King's Row. So they will be able to go for any of these other kind of bans here, and I think that we have seen. Okay, we will see a Wrecking Ball ban come out. Yeah, I think it's a pretty good call here. You know that Handball wanted to play that on Lijiang Tower, so I have to anticipate that it could make an appearance on Suravasa as well.
It does make sense. Part of me expected a Soldier 76 ban, because I think that very generally speaking, Soldier is better than Bastion on Flashpoint.
Yeah.
But that is not the option that they're going to go for. So now Arrow has that has the legs available to him as an option. Whether or not that will actually be what they play remains to be seen, but in the meantime, Unlimited have their pick of a damage or a support ban, and it will be the Symmetra, interestingly enough.
Okay. I wasn't expecting it, honestly. I mean, we saw it briefly from Ronan, and it did look pretty good. We don't tend to see the Sim as much on Flashpoint maps, unless, of course, like the Lucio is banned out, and you want to run a brawl comp, and you need some form of kind of mobility to work towards. So this may be noting that Unlimited is going to move over onto a shields tank in place of that Wrecking Ball, so you're taking the Sim off the table just so that you don't have to be worried about her having unlimited ammo up against your shields. But looks like we will be having yeah, we're gonna have the same heroes or the same roster in, so you're still gonna have Arrow potentially on this Bastion, potentially on this Soldier. So we'll see what DYS is gonna respond to that with.
Sometimes I wonder how scary players like Arrow would be if they just picked up like the best character in the game in their role. Like, obviously very good at Bastion. Obviously, I mean, we haven't seen the Soldier, but I imagine very good at Soldier. Yeah. But what if this guy just suddenly started playing Emery, man? That's just better Soldier. Like,
it's true. It's true. It would be pretty terrifying. In the matches that I've gotten to cast Unlimited, Arrow has moved over onto the Soldier 76 on Suravasa, so I'm not expecting to see the Bastion here. So I think that is going to put a lot of pressure onto Ronan, who's probably going to be on the Tracer, to be kind of matching that Soldier, at least keeping him in check. You don't necessarily have to win the 1v1s, but you are going to have to make sure that Arrow's not going to have kind of a free sight line on to your supports, and of course the pressure onto your tank as well. So especially on Suravasa, it's a big map, there's a lot of lanes, and the Soldier of course got some buffs actually in this season, so he's going to be able to reload as he runs now. No more stopping to reload, and I believe some other slight changes as well.
World's cutest alligators, by the way. What are those crocodiles? I don't know. I can't tell just based on the in-game model. Would an Overwatch developer please inform me if those are alligators or crocodiles? Thank you very much. I'm sure you're watching. But 15 seconds until this begins, until it kicks off, and yeah, I don't trust any of the hero selections I see right now except for Arrow's Bastion. He was showing Ashe earlier, and I didn't know about that one.
Yeah, I wasn't believing it, but I am a little surprised to see the Bastion here in place of that Soldier. So it is going to be DYS having Nepu over on the Malga here. So they're going to try this Malga with that Juno-free backline once again. So what I need to see them do differently this time than what they did on Control Center is their engages. The engages were not clean from this composition. So if you want to run this, I got to see the Hyper Fear come out. Got to see the Stomp come in from Nepu. And you got to be targeting one of these DPS from over.
Indeed, indeed. It's going to have to be cleaner on this map for sure. And I mean, without the ball in play, it is going to be more difficult for them for sure. But I mean, they're doing a pretty decent job of burning down Handball as it stands here. But eventually, in goes Arrow with the turret form just to try and put out a lot of damage pressure. And it will work. A lot of damage is dealt to the side of DYS Fracture. It is a 2-for-1 trade, but surely Nepu cannot escape this one. Gets healed up a little bit, but I mean, they all know exactly what this Malga is. Okay, manages to escape though.
Somehow, yeah, staying alive with a sliver of HP there. And I like the patience from DYS. They're trying to wait out this Bastion form from Arrow before they go in for that Stomp. Unfortunately, that time around, Ronan ends up getting picked off first. So you go in for the engage. It's a good engage. I like the Hyper Sphere, but you didn't have the follow-up from the free.
Most certainly. 52% in building now for the side of Unlimited, and this is going to be a tank-for-tank trade where DYS Fracture actually do manage to get a point flip in the midst of all of that, but oh, I was going to say how long is that going to last, but it might actually last because Note finds a pick onto Arrow from range with that Emery, and Ronan able to follow that up with a couple picks of his own. So, yeah, Fracture, they get an early pick onto the D.Va in that fight, and it is exactly what they need to get a flip and keep it rolling in their favor.
All right, like to see it. Both DPS ults ready to go for them as well, but Unlimited are going to be coming back with a whole lot of ults on the board as well. The artillery strike from Arrow, potentially just to try and zone DYS Fracture out a little bit, and then use that space it's created to either use the overflow. Oh, the overflow's gone. Oh, yeah.
That is an unfortunate fight for DYS Fracture for sure. That's going to be both of your support ultimates expended, and then immediately the DPS in question are going to just get slaughtered completely and utterly. So 5 ultimates now for Unlimited with 68% and building on this point. DYS Fracture just don't have a whole lot of answers here. They're going to need the greatest cage of all time.
Yeah, that's so true. You maybe be able to build up the rally from Kirby to kind of combo in that cage, but yeah, there's so much to work with, and it's going to be the aggressive beat from Unlimited, so you're going to be walking into a lot of trouble here if you're Fracture.
Yeah, and I mean, with both of your supports dead, with your orbital ray expended, and not, honestly, I think that might have been a rage. Yeah. And there goes the cage. Alright, so Unlimited take the first point, only having to expend their support ultimates in that fight. Surely we see a swap from Nepu here, because there's no way you were going to use that cage, thinking you were actually winning the fight. No, he's staying on Malga.
DYS just panicking a little bit at the end of Market, and yeah, that is going to be a pretty good cap here for Unlimited to only use those support ults, have everything else to work with. We'll have a call for a pause here as we move over to Palace for our second point here. Yeah, it's going to be tough here for Fracture. I think that the Malga comp is not finding the initiation that it needs to, and I think that that's just going to get harder and harder as we go through Saravasa, especially Palace, where now there's going to be the high ground to contend with. It's not looking good for them to get the first cap in. I will say, when they get everything lined up with like cooldown wise, they're getting some clean engagements in, but then when they're on the defensive side, they're not finding the timing to still go for that hard engage. And if you're playing the Malga, you gotta run it, you gotta run in, even on the defense. You just need to get the timing right. So we'll see if they're gonna be able to at least put up maybe a bit of a fight here on Palace, but with only the rally and the bank to work with, I just can't imagine that they're gonna come out on top of this fight.
I'm just wondering why they caged. Like, that's the big thing for me, man. Like, Nepu, literally, both of your supports are dead, and you're still choosing to use the cage fight for seemingly no reason whatsoever. I do like this aggressive rally from Kermi to be able to take the Sojourn out, and it does allow for you to take, I mean, the fight win here. So, honestly, really well played from DYS in that particular fight. All they needed was the one ultimate to just aggressively run down Unlimited and take that one away. So, good on them.
Hey, I love to see a team make me eat my words. You know what? You went out the fight with just the rally. You earned it. You really did. But now we got to see the strong defense coming through from DYS, because they've been struggling to kind of go for these initiations when they're on the defense. And they are set up on the point here. So it's going to be the rotation for Unlimited onto the high ground. They're going to get a Tictophobia set up there. And he's got this overclock to work with.
Yeah, he's got the overclock to work with. The problem is the fact that there is a Tracer pestering your backline right now. And, oh, never mind. There is no longer a Tracer pestering your backline. It can, with a beautiful boop, to take care of Ronin, and despite the fact that the Lucia will go down to the Juno, it simply will not matter. The flip will roll through, but I mean, all things considered, I don't think you're too upset with that if you're Fracture, because even though the overclock is still intact, the bomb is still there, Unlimited is coming on a couple of ultimates here, but I mean, you got a pretty good amount of capture out of that one fight.
Good percentage, and note with this override protocol, this is a pretty wide open space, so even if you just zone out Unlimited, you should be able to get presence on the point here. You're just gonna have to deal with all these ults. Cool.
Hamble uses the bomb, and immediately upon leaving the mech, the pilot is entirely melted. So it is a rough situation for them for sure, but Hamble going over to a Malga of his own. Now we're looking at a very, very familiar fight here, but Override Protocol from Note is going to be super impactful in re-flipping this point in the favor of Fracture. We're basically in one-fight territory at this point, and Fracture has a huge advantage with that cage.
Yeah, the cage, and they're going to have this orbit as well, and nice to see that they were set up on the high ground as well, so I like this for them. They're going to deny that from Tictophobia and put in aggressive.
Oh no, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? That is actually just tragic. I don't hate the idea of using the cage to cut off the beat there, but like, the line of sight doesn't get cut. Hamble gets the effects of the sound barrier anyway, and now we have had we're 0 for 2 on cage fights if we're Nefu right now, and we're 0 for 2 on points if we're DYS Fracture.
Yeah, unfortunately, you know, at the beginning of Night Market, DYS were being so cautious to bait out the Bastion form before they went in for those engages, but now they're just kind of going for it. They're running in as the Malga, and I do like to see the engage coming through, but the arrow just pops the form and just will melt down the Bastion so quickly. So map point here for Unlimited. We're gonna move over onto Garden, and both these DPS ults still ready to go for Unlimited, and get themselves set up kind of around the point as well, so they have the angles to work with.
Breach very nearly being taken out super early in that fight, but Kiriko is able to teleport away in time. Campbell falls very, very low, and they honestly might be able to punish this with a nice pulse bomb, but the damage is not significant enough quite yet. At very least, eventually the point will go in the favor of Unlimited, but it is a very scrappy fight as it stands here. It is just going to be a 1v3 on the point at this point, and Arrow is able to clean up Kermi, and Unlimited, they have already started to look really, really solid in potentially the final point of this map.
Yeah, they are set up on the point. They're going to be building this Kitsune Rush. The beat as well going to be massive. Kermi's over on that Brig, of course. They're not going to be able to match this beat when it comes online. Mogul does have the orbit to try and work with here. It's going to be tough, though, because I expect as soon as that orbit comes out from Mogul, you're going to see Breach come in with the Kitsune Rush, or kind of vice versa here. But we'll see what DYS can maybe get done with Note on this Override Protocol.
Override Protocol plus the orbital laser coming from the Juno, and that is just enough to clean up the fight for sure. Very, very fast team kill coming out from DYS. Unfortunately, despite the fact that it was fast, the staging to get them into that position was not, and you've given Unlimited 78% of this point. It's not going to be particularly easy to come back into this one.
No, and Breach Zero got picked first in that, so the Kitsune Rush is still ready to go.
We can't be serious. We're 0 for 3 on cages. We're 0 for 3. What are we doing? What are we doing? All right, that's the map, everybody. It's over. Ronan almost has a pulse bomb, but surely won't be able to charge it up and find a significant pick in time, especially not with the Kiriko still on the board here. Wait a minute. Ronan does find Phobia here, and that could be enough, but the pick onto Ronan just means that he can't trigger overtime, so the Mauga has to. Bastion form is just going to melt down Nepu, and yeah, Unlimited just has everything they need at this point. The Kitsune Rush is online, the Bastion has all of the overhealth in the world thanks to the level 1 perk, and there is no way Ronan is getting back in time to trigger overtime again. A 3-0 here on Suravasa, and DYS Fracture now with their backs against the wall.
Yeah, and that was, of course, DYS's map pick here, so Unlimited very prepared to come over here on to Suravasa. Arrow at 27 and 6 keeps up the play of the game here, and DYS, you know, I like the comp on paper, but the timing of the engages, and honestly, both teams kind of struggling, I think, a little bit to find big value with a lot of those ultimates, but DYS was definitely having a bit more of a struggle in getting some successful ults off.
0 for 3 on cage fights. Just, yeah, I mean, I think that's a lot of what this composition comes down to, because obviously, you can take the ball away from Unlimited, but the moment they swap to Mauga and they start playing Mauga better than you, it's just it just kind of feels over at that point, right? On the bright side, you have another map pick here, and potentially the opportunity to take this to maybe one of the more unconventional maps. I mean, so far I called earlier the maps that we always see, the Nothing Ever Changes maps, right?
Yeah.
And those are kind of off the board now. Obviously, no more Lijiang, no more King's Row, no more Suravasa. We've only got Push and Escort left. And, I mean, I would argue that the Nothing Ever Changes Escort map is Watchpoint Gibraltar, and that's not in the pool.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, Push is a little bit weirder, because I think that there isn't, like, a definitive like go-to map. Maybe you could argue that that's Esperanza these days, but I think a lot of teams are leaning more into the Runasapi as well. So I'm very curious to see where we go here. Is this going to be a map where DYS can lean more into what they are comfortable with, or is this going to be another map where Unlimited can just continue to play to their comforts and strengths?
I think if you're DYS right now, you have to be preparing to win the next map and then be ready for that last map pick to go over to Unlimited. And I think that if you're DYS, you don't really care what push map you end up on, because yeah, they're all going to play fairly similarly. So I think if you're DYS right now, you have to pick an escort map. You have to take us to escort, and you have to try and right, and you have to force a map where you're not going to be able to play this Bastion, because you can't ban it again. So I'm looking at the map pool, and I am thinking that DYS need to take us to Dorado. Honestly, Havana, Rialto, Shambali are all going to be, like, okay for the Bastion. You might be able to get away with picking Havana and going for, like, leaning really heavily into Note on this Emre to have that, like, long-range sightlines to work with. But I think right now, if you pick a push map and you win the push map, you're going to end up on the bad side of the escort map, which is going to have to be that last pick. So, I really do think that, like, we gotta go, Dorado or Havana. I think those are really the only options here for DYS to work with, and then
I don't even
go
think
for
Havana.
Even Havana's not really a great option. Like, you go Dorado and maybe ban the Diva. Like, you have to come up with a ban that's somehow going to deny some of that value from the Bastion or the Soldier. That's obviously not the Bastion. I guess you could ban the Soldier, but I just don't really think it's worth it.
No, it's really not. I mean, if you think about this, right? I'm looking at the map pool right now, and I mean, you can't go Rialto, you can't go Shambali. I mean, you could, if you're really, really confident, maybe you could go Havana, but I think Dorado is your best choice in terms of escort. And upon looking at the push map pool, I've realized that Esperanza is not even here. So it's going to be
true.
Colosseo, New Queen Street, or Runasapi for your push options. And I don't love any of those for a map 4 selection. I think that once you go to map 5, anything can happen. I think Honestly, I think that your best shot, if your Fracture is... I mean, it's so tough because even if you win map 4, how do you win map 5? Like, what ban do you have available to you at this point that'll allow you to do anything on map 5?
Not much, because Unlimited has shown, if you go for, you know, you got to forget about the DPS ban. Forget about trying to ban DPS. It's not going to work. So then you're looking at, like, maybe a tank ban, but Handball, although, you know, I think maybe a lot of CGL, as knowing him as kind of being a Wrecking Ball player, has shown us a lot of different tanks throughout this series already, and honestly, he's looked pretty solid on all of them, honestly. So going for the tank ban is also going to be really hard. So I mean, then you're looking at a support ban, and the support bans are always really tough because it's like you're gonna be kind of shooting yourself in the foot as well. So like whatever support you ban out, you've probably been kind of leaning on that a little bit as well. We did see the Juno break coming out for Fracture for a good amount of these maps so far. So you could potentially go for, I don't know, I guess the BAP maybe, or the Lucio, but the BAP ban did... No, DYS already banned BAP, so they can't even ban that.
Nope, they cannot do that. And Rialto is the selection. Interesting. So they do go to Escort, but Rialto is the play. We are not going to Dorado. This is one of those maps that I think that they absolutely could have, like... I don't know. This is one of the ones where I said you can't go here because, I mean, I think Bastion is just... This is one of the maps where he is favored, at least a little bit, in terms of this specific map pool, but maybe they know something we don't here. I am curious. I am very curious.
I feel like it could potentially come down to comfortability as well. Like, yeah, maybe DYS is just not well practiced on Dorado or on Hamon. And to be fair, we haven't really seen any dive come through for DYS, so that would make Dorado a little bit harder. So coming over to Rialto, I guess instead of Shambali, I like that at least. There's some high ground here on Rialto to work with. I do think that Note will be able to probably be over on that Emre, I'm assuming, so you'll at least have some nice long sight lines to work with here. But I think that right now it really is going to come down to, trying to really empower your DPS players here on Rialto, because if you can, just kind of get set up on a bit of an angle, you're going to be able to poke out this Bastion a little bit better. Not totally sure what to expect tank-wise from DYS. I'm really hoping it's not the Mauga, so maybe we see the Ram come out potentially. But I think that Unlimited are still probably not sweating too much right now.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. But I mean, again, normally I'd say something like a lot of this comes down to the banned heroes, right? But like, I mean, you can't ban Bastion twice in one series. So obviously that has been the big thorn in the side hero, but maybe you want to, I don't know, get rid of the Emery or something like that. Just like, I don't know, because you've been more preferential towards the Emery than than Unlimited has been. They're gonna get rid of the Sojourn here, but what does that realistically do for them?
It does, at least it takes it out of Ticophobia's hands, but it'll do a protect ban onto the DPS as well, so at least you do guarantee that Note will be able to play that Emre, because we haven't seen that ban come out from the side of Unlimited yet. So Unlimited will be in control of the tank or the support ban coming through, and tank could be a nice pick for the ban, where we have seen I think a limited kind of hero pool so far that's been coming through for the side of DYS. But I think that the support ban could be either way. It is going to be... Oh, Kiriko. Okay. You kind of mentioned we haven't seen a whole lot of Kiriko, but we did end up on the Lucio Kiriko on Sarabasa, so taking that as a potential option out of the hands.
Yeah, Kiriko, strangely absent on our first map, despite not being banned. And now, ever since then, been a character that we've been seeing pretty regularly, but we will not be seeing her on Rialto. And part of me is like, it's chalked, it's over. But I don't know. It seems like this could still very well go either way. Like, Fracture, we saw them win out that first map, and they did really well there. It's just a matter of, can they emulate that performance here on Escort and potentially on a map number 5? Or will Unlimited just continue to run away with this?
Alright, well, we'll see what they can get done. We will have a side swap coming through as well, so that whatever that means for these teams. But yeah, they won't be working with the Soj and the Kiriko. So handball, I mean, you could potentially go over onto the Wrecking Ball. Definitely not kind of the best place to be playing the ball, so I wouldn't be surprised if we do get that D.Va, who honestly, I outside of this series, has been fairly present, I think, in a lot of the matches that we've been seeing at this kind of higher level play. Okay, some substitutions here. Okay, yeah, Ronan's going to move over onto the support. Crimson's going to come in on the DPS here, so this will be the first time that we get to see Crimson, I believe. And Ronan, yeah, potentially playing the Ana here. I do think Rialto could be a place to play it.
This is kind of funny to me, because one thing that I pointed out before we started this series is that Fracture has a much larger roster than Unlimited does. Unlimited has a 6-man roster, whereas there are 11 on Fracture, which is kind of ridiculous. 11-man roster, you can do in-house scripts with that. But
literally.
Is this a Hangzhou Spark 2019 reference? Like, I don't know. This is kind of insane stuff in terms of roster size. So a lot of players we haven't seen come out here for the side of Fracture. Crimson obviously being the one that will emerge from the shadows in this map number 4 on Rialto. And complete side note, I like Rialto, man. I like this map a lot. I've got a soft spot for it. Have ever since the Archives Retribution event. What a good time.
It is, yeah, that is true. I think that was a really good way to introduce a map. I'd love to, yeah, maybe see them do that again. I like Rialto. I think as far as Escort maps go, I'm a hater when it comes to a lot of them, but Escort's not at the top of my hate watch list, so I'll happily sit through an Escort Rialto game. We will have DYS on the attack, so Unlimited, yeah, okay, a Ticketphobia off the Sojourn, and onto the Widowmaker here, so DYS gonna have to be very careful. Still running, actually, the Brig Juno backline here, at least on the attack. No, Kermie's over onto the Wuyong, so Crimson coming in to play that Genji, as we are getting to see a bit of Hazard as well, so I do like this, quite a bit of a swap coming through compositionally for Fracture.
I mean, if there ever was a map where we were going to see Widowmaker, it was going to be the Escort, whether it be the Rialto, the Dorado, the Havana, potentially, but, I mean, here we are. Let's see if any shots can be connected. None so far onto the heads of Fracture, but, I mean, at the very least, if you're Fracture so far, you're getting pretty decent distance out of this. The cart has already moved past the first corner, excuse me, towards the second corner. And a lot of pressure is being put onto the defenders on the high ground here, as, I mean, the cart's gotten to 51 meters at this point. It's just not been stopped. Unlimited has not gone to the low ground quite yet, and Fracture just appear to be fighting for this high ground specifically. Nepu on this Hazard is going to be trying to bully the entirety of Unlimited away from the high ground, and I really do like this strategy from them.
Yeah, I do as well. Also, gotta say, really like having Crimson come in to play this Genji. You know, I'm thinking of ways to kind of counter out the Bastion. A lot of that does fall onto the tank, you know, maybe swap over on the D.Va, but with Nepu not really having that D.Va in the hero pool, it seems, I think bringing in a Genji to try and put some pressure onto this Bastion, fantastic idea here. So it is going to be DYS still continuing to push this payload forward and taking control of the far high ground.
Campbell falls so low here, but Breach has the window in an attempt to maybe continue to keep this Ramatra standing. It will work for now, but I mean, 2 minutes are drained off the clock as it stands. 73 meters have been gained by Fracture on the attack. Note, going to be utilizing that override protocol to pump in as much damage as possible, and it does manage to find the final blow onto Breach. Ticketphobia also finally finding a final blow on this Widowmaker. A headshot onto Kermie is potentially massive, but I mean, you still got to find a way to get around this annihilation from the Ramatra. Campbell, eventually that duration will be going away. Breach is back out. No more Batiste. We will instead be on the, not only the Ana, but also the Brig swap coming out from Unlimited here.
Right, yeah, Unlimited still holding this this point, and if the Tidal Blast is not gonna break through that break shield though, so Nepu doesn't find anything with it.
Phobia, man. Headshot onto Kermi for the second time in about a minute here. Speaking of about a minute, that's what Fracture has to work with. Kermi has made the swap. No more Wu Young. We are now looking at a Jetpack Cat. Maybe a little bit goofy, but honestly, I don't hate this. I really and truly do not hate this. It's a slightly more elusive target for the Widowmaker to have to take out here. And with Arrow going down here, the Dragon Blade comes out. Big damage onto Ikbin. And now this Ramatra gets pressured so hard. If you can just get rid of this Widowmaker, I think you're perfect. But even if you didn't get rid of the Widowmaker, I think that that first point capture was in the bag.
Yeah, good stuff there. Fantastic jagged wall from Nepu to block off the escape route of Arrow. So moving into the second point of Rialto here, DYS will get a little under 3 minutes to work with. They are going to have this override protocol ready to go as Handball going to make the swap over on to the Orisa here. So this is, of course, going to make it very difficult for Nepu to take the space on the hazard that he was doing before. So Limited will get stabilized here and even find a pick for their troubles.
Yeah, and that's big for them. Arrow finding Crimson is so massive because, I mean, even though Crimson is nowhere near that Dragon Blade, that damage is still super threatening if you're the side of Unlimited. The problem now becomes you're still giving up distance on this cart. It's at 53 meters almost. And Kermi going down, I mean, surely now the momentum has to be halted, especially with this Genji going down as well. Yeah, Fracture, they're not going to be getting any more distance in this fight here, but, I mean, they're still playing pretty well here. I'm actually rather impressed with this.
Yeah, I like this great combo there from Handball to shut down Crimson on the Genji, who's now going to move over to the Tracer.
I like that.
He is still on this Widow though, so you still got to be aware of that.
Out goes the downpour, and it's going to connect onto a couple players here. Arrow is able to find a pick onto Nepu, but I mean, it's just not going to be enough here. I mean, Handball has to run for the hills right now, and I think right now the big problem for Unlimited is that, okay, I was gonna say you're still on Widowmaker, but then I noticed that the swap happened, so there's now a Cassidy, and I like this a whole lot more. The problem is you're still gonna be taking a lot more damage at range from that Emre, which is why we kind of see the attempt at running down that character, but the jagged wall is so perfect from Nepu, cutting off the line of sight that the supports have to the Bastion, and yeah, it's just not even going to be remotely close. Campbell, though, gets the Nano, able to find a couple of picks here, both with the ultimate and just with the primary fire shots, and that is another great stabilizing play coming out of Unlimited.
Yeah, they do commit 3 ults into that, so you're just holding on to this artillery strike from Arrow. And DYS are going to swap over, actually, to match the Orisa. They're going to have the Jetpack Cat to work with as well.
The cat!
Right, just carrying that Orisa through the air. Has this Catnap ready to go as well. Now, if you can wait out the 4 to 5 from Handball, that could be a nice target for this.
Oh, the good stick! But it's not going to be enough, obviously. The overhelp from that turret saving Arrow's life, and now it's just going to be a matter of finding a way back onto the point here and potentially taking a fight where you can find an early pick, but this Cassidy causes so much of a problem for you in this position on the bridge. Cart's moving forward very slowly right now. Overtime is going to be in effect, and now it's just a matter of can the side of Unlimited clean this fight up, or will DYS be able to find an opening here? It doesn't look like they will. Nope, finds a pick onto Arrow, but it might be a little bit too late considering more players from the side of Fracture are going down, and Tychophobia is on the stairs, cannot be stopped on this Cassidy. The damage pressure is simply too much, and the Cowboy ends the round just before the second point is captured.
Yeah, unfortunately, DYS weren't really able to find an opening for that Catnap, and I think that Note got the override protocol online after he had already died, so that's as far as that payload's going to get. DYS did have quite the struggle on first point, though, so to be able to get nearly to that second checkpoint is a pretty good feat for them here. And I think also, Grizzly, just taking a quick look at these stats, they have done a very good job of shutting down Arrow, which I think is something that they have really been struggling with. So that is a little bit of a win for them here. But honestly, in all things considered, that's not a very far push for Unlimited to try and make.
Side note, Note was 10-1 on that Emery. That's kind of a ridiculous stat line for the distance that they gained, which doesn't feel like all that much considering the numbers that we were looking at on the scoreboard just now. But Ticophobia showing the Widowmaker once again at the beginning of this round here. Not entirely surprising, and I really do hope that maybe the Widowmaker gets to stick around a little bit longer this time. I just like Widowmaker, okay? I just really like Widowmaker, please.
I feel like we'll get to see at least a little bit of Widow. I think especially on first point, you can make some work with it. We'll see about second point though. The corners might become a little bit too much. It is going to be similar compositions, I should say, for both these teams, as Kermie is going to start on that Wooyoung, and Ronan's starting on the Ana as well. So kind of poke damage to come in, and a potential for a Nano Blade to make an appearance.
A Nano Blade, a relic of the past, but still effective every now and then. A sentence that could also be spoken about Widowmaker and have the exact same level of accuracy. 30 seconds gone, but a decent amount of distance already gained here. And I mean, a very similar strategy coming out from the Unlimited attack right now. They just want to make sure that they can bully the entirety of DYS Fracture off of the high ground here. And they're going to try and do that with the help of the Bastion turret form. But Bastion is going to be one of the first victims, if not the first victim, of this fight here, as Crimson on this Genji and Note on this Emery are able to clean this one up pretty effectively here. That's a team kill.
Yeah, nice start here for DYS. I'm liking the synergy we're seeing between this Genji and the tank. Nepu kind of diving in, baiting out that Bastion form from Arrow, and then Crimson is there with the deflect, and of course Kermie gonna throw in some of that damage as well. So we will see Handball swap over onto the D.Va here, so it's gonna be a little bit easier to put some contest on to this high ground. And farewell to the Widowmaker, as Ticophobia is gonna match Note on that array.
Yeah, not really a surprise here to see the swap come out from the Ticophobia, but it does make me a little bit sad. But you know what would make them even sadder? Losing, because they decided to stick to a worse character. So not going to be taking that risk, instead just going to be playing it out on the Emre, who has been so prevalent recently. But Arrow, man, what an excellent shot there onto Kermie. Even though the trade does come through, the nano boost is big, and Nepu should just be able to clean this one up with the help of it, and that's going to be a brutal stagger on the Handle as well.
Yep, this is another really good fight win here for DYS. I mean, the chart inches a little bit forward, but honestly, you are able to just get yourself set up on this high ground once again, and you're gonna have a whole bunch of ults to work with here. Yeah, the Nano committed in, but both these DPS ults, the downpour as well, going to be an excellent tool for DYS to shut down a push that comes through for Unlimited. So you have the artillery strike ready to go. You won't be on the high ground to use it, but that could be what you need to try and make some space here for Unlimited. Or it will not. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's tough. At least not in this fight. But potential for the next one, for sure. But with Arrow gone, yeah, this becomes a very difficult fight to even try and continue to take. 1 minute and 13 seconds remaining, and Arrow's just going to be ulting from spawn. I kind of like this, but it is going to be a little bit rough to find value with it. Crimson does get taken down after just one pick with the Dragon Blade, but I mean, it's just rough right now. Like, Unlimited, they would really like to be able to get a little bit more distance on this part, but they simply are not being afforded the space. This hazard has been stellar from Nepu.
Yeah, I love the survivability that's coming through. Not getting too aggressive, knowing when he needs to back out. Note finds the kill on the Igman online, and then, yeah, committing this over our protocol. Arrow has to make the swap, yeah, over onto the soldier now.
Yeah, just in order to get back and, you know, stay able to recontest this fight in case of a potential overtime situation. Handball, though, does end up needing to go off the map to reset and get that mech back. 20 seconds remaining on the clock now, and it's going to be a very, very rough situation for Unlimited here, facing their first potential map loss since the first map of this series. We could very well be going to a map 5 in just a moment here, but there are tools for Unlimited to be using here. Most certainly, this Attack-ophobia override protocol will be important, but Arrow goes down first. Crimson is traded out, but the nano boost onto the hazard has been so impactful previously, and it will likely continue to be impactful, especially when layered on top of the Tidal Blast. Attack-ophobia taken out of the equation. Campbell forced to use that Diva Bomb in order to remech and have a single chance at recontesting in this fight here. Diva goes up to the high ground to try and pressure out some of these supports, but remains to be seen how effective that's going to be. Nepu knows that they have room to work with, so just tries to escape, but doesn't get out. Hamble hunts him down, and with Ronin also getting taken out by the Helix Rockets of Arrow here, this actually looks pretty good for an Unlimited capture on first point.
That's a great call from Handball, and also a lot of trust in your team that somebody is going to keep their feet on that payload. You put the pressure onto the supports, and that means that Nepu's not going to be able to live forever in overtime. We will see Unlimited move into the second point here of Rialto. They are going to have a Attack-ophobia over on the Cassidy now as well. So DYS are going to get themselves set up on the high ground. They're building up to this downpour and to an override protocol of their own, but there is going to be a nano visor ready to go, but it's going to be Handball, the recipient of that nano.
Yeah, Handball. Diva, obviously, a very good nano target over the years, but... And, I mean, we're seeing why here. That's 2 picks onto the support line right off the bat, and that could very well be what Unlimited needs to close this series out. A moment ago, it looked like we might be seeing a map 5, but blink and you miss it. Unlimited look like they're posed to win the series outright in just a couple of seconds. One more fight is all they need here, and they have the tools to do it. Now, Tactical Visor is popped. I don't expect that this is going to be the thing that seals the deal, unless it manages to find a pick onto one of these players, but Nepu goes down super early in the fight, and there's just no one there to touch! Unlimited! Their potential is as such. Living up to their name. Moving on in the winner's bracket here. DYS Fracture, they are kicking themselves a little bit right now.
It was the right call to go over to Escort. Honestly, I really do think this was a good selection from them. I like the hazard comp that came through for them as well. They looked so good on first point, but they just didn't get enough space in that second point to really make it work. All it took was, you know, one kind of clean fight win for Unlimited, get 3 bodies on the cart and move that forward to the golden box. So well played here by Unlimited. Great bounce back after a close Lijiang Tower to really kind of lock in for the rest of the series. A little bit of, you know, a little tough spot on Rialto, but yeah, honestly, very well played for this seed. This was the 5th seed team, I believe.
I think so, yeah. It is numerically at least, this is an upset. The 5th seed taking down the 4th seed in 4 maps here. So really, really well done to Unlimited here. Just massive congrats to them. And unfortunately for Fracture, they will have to go down to the losers bracket up next and make a losers run of a lifetime if they hope to even sniff the grand finals.
Yeah, that's so true. It's always so rough to go down in a week or the first rounds here. You're gonna have to put up your best showing kind of consistently for multiple maps in a row. No more room for mistakes here. I do think that DYS did have some really strong moments throughout this map, but yeah, as I got to speak with DYS when we were in the picking stream for EU, they knew that, you know, Arrow was gonna be a bit of an issue here, and definitely showing some real big strength on that Bastion. You did manage to at least force the Bastion swap on Rialto, so definitely some good maps here for DYS to go back to the VOD review for and figure out how things are going to change for the next time they face off against this team, potentially in a future bracket match.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, again, there's still time for this team. They've got losers bracket to work with here. They have a second lifeline down there, but for now, it is going to be Unlimited moving on here, and we are actually going to have Unlimited, a few of their players, or maybe just one, who knows, come in for an interview very briefly in just a moment, so don't go anywhere quite yet. We'll be back after this very brief break. We're back, everybody, and we got Breach and Aticophobia here from Unlimited, our winning team today. How are you fellas doing? Congratulations again on your win.
Thank you, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Now, we got a couple questions for you before we end the broadcast here. First question from me comes down to that first map of Lijiang Tower, which was obviously the only map you drop in this series today. Obviously, you see the Bastion ban come out map 1, and you're like, okay, we can't play Arrow here, can we now? But when that sort of thing happens, what is your response, mentally speaking, right? What's the immediate response in terms of like, okay, we have to play this without our Bastion player who is clearly so impactful throughout the rest of the series?
If that happens, we try to see what remaining players we have and see what we play. To be honest, we play mostly on comfort picks, and then we just play around that to see what we can do against their comp, because we like know the players already a little bit, so we kind of know what they play. And it's also just really trust in the team, to be honest.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. I want to look back first. So, of course, you guys have played against DYS in the past, back in week number 6. And when it came to the picking stream, because you guys were the 4th and the 5th seed, there wasn't really a whole lot of choice given to you guys who you were going to end up against. Coming into this matchup where you had already previously won in a 3-0 fashion against DYS, was there any kind of doubt in your mind that this was going to be played out any differently here in round 1?
We know that they're a good team, so we didn't really like bank on us winning 3-0 again. We just take it game by game, really. And we're just happy it worked out.
Yeah, that's fair. So looking forward now in the bracket, you guys, of course, will get to stay in that upper bracket. And you do already know that you are going to be facing off against EMC Chimera. So how are you feeling going into that round 2?
Obviously, it's pretty scary because they're a really good team. They also finished number 1 in the first weeks. And we also had some changes in our team again, so we're just gonna have to find each other again, try work around each other, and then if we do it correctly, it should definitely be a good equal match. That should be fun.
Okay.
My last question before we move on to the shout-out segment, it involves one specific character in the hit scan role these days who has kind of been dominating the game as of late, but you guys did not seem to be concerned about Emery basically at all this entire game. Like you were running the Bastion, you were running the Sojourn, basically anything except the Emery. So walk me through how you guys are like playing without that hero and how you guys are planning to counterplay that hero.
To be honest, I just like playing Soj, so I don't really switch. I could play Emery, but I just didn't really want to. I don't know, like, we know Emery is really strong ult and everything, but I mean, it worked out, so I guess we did good. We just mark him, we just try to not get like random naded, and then just kill him.
Again, it's like the comfort picks again. If it's not broken, then there's no need to fix it. So
hey, that's fair. That's entirely fair. Now, any shout outs you'd like to give before we let you guys go for the evening?
I really want to give a big shout out to Churro. I really want to thank him for setting this team up, making it possible for us to play in CGL and see how far we go.
Very nice.
I want to shout out my team because I did not play well, so they kind of carried me, really. Shout out to my friends Ibs Capalot, Natsu, Zips Juice, Molly, everyone really. Everyone I'm friends with, Alex. Yeah, that's it.
Fire.
Awesome.
You love to hear it. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on for the interview. Best of luck moving forward in the winner's bracket. We look forward to seeing you continue to play more Overwatch in the playoffs here. And we'll see you next time.
Yes, thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you.
All right, and just like that, we are done here for the day. Well, not for the day. We do have one more match later in the day. Dire Triggers versus Aura Fury facing off in the NA Masters division. But I'm not even sure who's casting that one, if I'm being entirely honest. I won't be around for that one, so you guys don't have to hear my voice anymore. I've done 3 broadcasts in a row, but the streak will be broken here. A very talented couple of individuals will be up, I'm sure. But that's it for me and Rain today. Rain, you got anything to say to the people?
Yeah, thanks for coming out to watch, everybody. I hope you had a fun one with this. Wasn't a 3-0, so we got a little bit of back and forth here. Yeah, thanks for continuing to support CGL and all of the incredible players that have been competing in it. Shout out to our prod team as well. We had Caustic running the broadcast, and then we had Bert as the observer here. So yeah, big thanks to the prod team as always.
Yeah. Huge shouts to them. Obviously, without them doing their job, we cannot do ours. So big ups to them. And as Rain was saying, thank y'all for supporting. If you're not already hitting the follow button on the stream, you probably should, because we got a lot more playoffs to be played here in Season 17. And a whole Season 18, from what I hear through the grapevine, potentially coming up as well. So that's it for us. We'll see you all later today for Dire Triggers versus Aura Fury. But until then, I've been Gedster. This has been my friend Rain. And we'll see y'all later.